puzzlers, this is Liz Davidson from Beyond Solitaire, and today I'm going to be reviewing 3 puzzles from Art and Fable. Art and Fable prides itself on creating puzzles that are luxurious, that have a very velvety feel to the pieces, and that are ethically packaged, and that give back to the environment. Every time you buy a puzzle from Art and Fable, they give to a nice cause. One of the puzzles I opened was helping beekeepers keep bee populations alive, and I thought that was pretty cool. But are these puzzles truly the deluxe experience you're looking for? Let's find out. The first puzzle I did is called East of the Sun and West of the Moon. It was a quick 500-piece puzzle that was absolutely beautiful to put together. Most puzzles I've seen before are glossy, but these Art and Fable puzzles are matte, and the color saturation is just really, really nice. It makes the blues and the greens on the page pop, especially when you place them against the muted, kind of yellowed book tones of the background. This puzzle is really gorgeous, and I'm probably going to keep it around and do it again. I feel the same way about the lovely floral fantasy in an Old English garden. So apparently it's going to become a part of a series of puzzles, but right now it's just some beautiful illustrations with some verses. The puzzle itself was super quick to put together, but it was just such a pleasant and whimsical experience that I'll definitely be doing this one again as well. There is one complaint I have about this particular puzzle, however, which is, you'll notice, the box says a floral fantasy in an Old English garden, and that's what the print inside the box shows you as well. However, if you look at the finished puzzle, you'll see that it just says an English garden. And I spent a good amount of my time doing this puzzle stressed out because I was convinced that I was missing a major edge piece. Fortunately, that turned out not to be the case, but the mismatch in printing really scared me and took away from the experience. So I'll be looking forward to the next time I do this puzzle because I'll know not to freak out. Also, I've now verified that all the pieces are there. And then in addition to those little 500-piece snacks, I had the big feast, which was the Roses of Helia Kabbalists. This puzzle was difficult, as you can tell by all of the roses, but it was also so beautiful and gorgeous to do. I really enjoyed this puzzle. So this is actually a Victorian painting, but it depicts a very interesting episode from the life of Elagabalus, a Roman emperor who was a wild teenager at the same time. Elagabalus was famous for doing horrible things, such as having a lottery where you could win a house, but also a dead dog or a box of angry bees. And he's also famous for having put a lion in his house, and then having people find that lion, who then mauled one of them. But the Roses of Heliogabalus depicts an event from his life that is probably not true, but it's actually mentioned in Historia Augusta as Elagabalus dropping so many petals, flower petals. It's actually violets and other flowers that are mentioned in the original source, but in this painting it's roses. And the rumor is that he dropped so many roses on his guests that some of them could not dig their way to the surface and suffocated under the flower petals. So this image is this serene and also horrific painting that depicts these people who are at a party and slowly dying because they're going to suffocate under all of the rose petals. And then of course you have Elagabalus and his friends sitting up at the table looking like they're having a grand old time while others die below. If you'd like a beautiful but also sort of grim puzzle to do, this is the one. I really enjoyed this, and I'm keeping it to do again and maybe frame at some point. Art and Fable also has other 1,000-piece puzzles that is recently released. I actually have bought one more to do, and I will be probably reviewing at some point in the future because I can't wait to do it. So what are these puzzles like on the whole? They really are as luxurious feeling as Art and Fable advertises. I really loved the velvety feel of the pieces, the very traditional cut. When you lay the pieces, the cardboard is thick and it's really good quality, but it's not so thick that the puzzle looks lumpy when you put it together. The Art and Fable puzzles are probably the smoothest and flattest jigsaw puzzles that I have ever assembled, and it makes for a really gorgeous image when you're done, and of course one that you run your hands over when you put the last piece in, because like, what else do jigsaw puzzle people do when they finish a puzzle? So the actual feeling of doing the puzzle is fabulous, and the pieces really just fall in together. The joins are really easy, it just feels great the whole time. There's only one issue that I have with these puzzles other than the difference in print on the floral fantasy puzzle that I mentioned before. And that is that, especially in the more patterned areas of puzzles, because the shapes of the pieces are so similar sometimes, it is possible to join the wrong pieces to each other and not notice right away. And then when you do notice and you're trying to take the puzzle back apart, the nubs really fit tightly enough that you worry about damaging your puzzle pieces when you're trying to pull misjoined pieces apart. So that's a problem that I had both in the Roses of Helia Kabbalists, because that was a complicated puzzle with all the rose petals and all the areas that are the same basic color. And I also had that issue with the border on East of the Sun, West of the Moon. So for me, the one thing with Art and Fable puzzles is that in areas that are the same shade and where you're trying to find joins, you have to be really careful not to accidentally put puzzle pieces together that don't belong together, because it'll cause you some grief later on in the process. Both because it's hard to find the mistake, and because it makes you feel like you're going to damage your puzzle pieces. That said, however, these puzzles were great. I would do an Art and Fable puzzle anytime. I was really excited when these came in the mail and they were so beautiful, and when I was putting together and they felt so good. This is definitely a brand of puzzle that I will be checking and getting more puzzles from going forward, because they're just so nice. That said, you do pay a bit of a price for premium. A 500-piece puzzle is about $23, and a 1,000-piece puzzle is about $29. I do not feel that my money was wasted, because I enjoyed the puzzles enough that I'm going to be doing them again. I'm going to get my money's worth out of these. But if you want the kind of quick, less expensive puzzle, then I would reconsider before buying a bunch from Art and Fable, because they're premium, but you pay for it. But those are Art and Fable puzzles. Really liked them, have another one in the stack to do later, and I definitely give them a look if you want the full sensory experience of putting together a jigsaw. Happy puzzling.